I think for a lot of people, postural problems seem unclear and sort of vague. So today, I hope to show you how a rational understanding of a postural problem can help you develop a plan of action to overcome that postural problem. In my last video, I said pulling your shoulders back is a bad idea, that it's not just unhelpful, it's the opposite of what we want. In this video, we'll explore exactly what's happening to people's arms as a result of them pulling their shoulders back. Once we understand what's going wrong, we can make an intelligent plan to change how we use our arms. I'm going to use a model to explain what's happening with people's arms. Sometimes, postural problems are difficult for us to reason about because we can't really see our own body that well. If we pull our arms out in front of us, sure, we can see them, but what is our arm doing when it's resting at our side? By creating a simplified model that we can look at, we can get a clearer understanding. For our model, I've attached two rulers to make a rudimentary joint. That joint will be our elbow. At the lower end, we see the hand, and at the top end, we have our shoulder blade. We want this model to be right, so let's check with F.M. Alexander. He wrote, "The properly coordinated person stands with the back of his hands forward, the thumbs inward, and the elbows slightly bent outwards." Here we have it. The back of the hand is forward, the palm obviously being back, the thumb is inward, and the elbow is slightly bent outward. But this is not what you will see in yourself or the people that you know. What you will see instead is that people are pulling their shoulders back. So what does that do to the arm? When you pull your shoulder back, your shoulder blade moves backwards, upwards in space, and in towards the spine. That will move your shoulder blade from being on the side of your rib cage to being on the back of your rib cage. In many people, you will see their scapula bulging out on their back because they've pulled their shoulders so far back. The pull from the shoulder blade will rotate the top of the arm. That rotation will bring the elbow in towards the body. It will bring the entire arm in towards the body. It will also change the direction of the elbow joint. Instead of facing outward, the elbow joint will face backwards. This is a bit shocking if you think about it. Most people are constantly twisting their arms very severely. Really consider what this twisting would do to the muscles that connect your arm into your back. Is it any wonder that so many people have pain in their shoulders and backs as they age? When you pull your shoulder blades back and in, you are pulling your arms in towards your body, and we can easily see how this will shorten the muscles that connect your arm to your back. In this condition, you will find that fully extending your arms is difficult. This is particularly noticeable when a person lets their arms hang at their sides. You can't fully extend your arm unless you make the movements that would extend your arm. That sounds funny, but it's obvious. If you refuse to make the movements that will extend your arm, you won't be able to extend your arm. To extend your arm, your shoulder blades must move apart. Your upper arms must move forward in relation to your torso and must move apart as well. If you are pulling your shoulders back, even unintentionally, you will not be able to extend your arm because you will be making movements that shorten your arm. And shortened, bent arms are exactly what we see. When you observe someone with their arms hanging at their sides, you will see that they hold their arms at an angle. The top of the arm is being pulled back and up and in. If we look at our model again, it's not hard to see why that pull would lead to a bend at the elbow joint. And since people have rotated their entire arm so that the elbow joint faces backwards, when the arm is bent, the elbow moves back and the hand moves forward in space. That is why when a person is asked to let their arm hang at their side, they won't let it hang straight up and down. Instead, you will always see the hand forward and the upper arm and elbow back. Our model can also help us understand why that's a tiring and irrational thing to do. When a mechanism like this is bent, I have to hold it to prevent it from conforming to the influence of gravity and becoming straight. If your arm is constantly bent, you are constantly having to apply a force to keep it that way. That's tiring and ultimately painful. But it's not possible to just let your arm rest with the pull of gravity unless you can extend your arm. And you can't extend your arm if you are essentially pulling your arms in towards your body. That is the opposite of extension, so extension becomes impossible. It's become so common for people to shorten their arms that it doesn't even look unusual to the average person. It's the norm, and so it doesn't stand out to us. But when you understand the problem, you can see the evidence of it in virtually everyone around you. So how can we begin to change how we use our arms? The first thing we can do with this information is stop pulling our shoulders back if that's what we've been doing, as we now understand why that's making our problems worse, not better. But just not doing the wrong thing isn't enough, because years or decades of bad habits will have made it so that the structures in your body want to pull you back to the old familiar habit. What we need to do is consciously make the appropriate movements, and what will allow us to do that is using verbal directions that we can consciously follow. So what movements will allow us to extend our arms and widen our shoulders and our upper back? First, we can consider pulling our upper arm forward, outward, and down. But if our elbow is still pulled back, it will prevent much movement from happening at the upper arm. So we can add the direction to pull the tip of the elbow forward, outward, and down. The two movements that I've described both involve moving parts of the body in 3 trajectories. This might, at first, feel like a lot to think about, but the different trajectories will actually make accomplishing the overall adjustment easier. Pulling the tip of your elbow down will help you pull it outward, and pulling it outward will help you pull it forward. While it may take time to get better at guiding yourself to move in all of these trajectories simultaneously, the more of these movements that you can get going at once, the easier the overall adjustment will be. These directions are rather specific, but that's exactly what we need to overcome long-held habits. We can consciously give ourselves the directions to simultaneously pull our upper arms forward, out, and down, and pull the tips of our elbows forward, out, and down. It's a good idea when you start to attempt this to adjust just one arm at a time, as trying to extend both arms at once will be a real stretch on your upper back. If you make the movements I've described, it will feel strange at first, and probably even a bit uncomfortable, because you'll be going against years or decades of your bad habits. But if you embrace the strange, you might find out that your arm functions better when its mechanisms are used properly. If you would like some direct assistance in correcting your posture, I do offer lessons that are designed to help you correct your posture in an effective and rational way. The lessons are done over Zoom so that you can record the lesson with your webcam, and you can see for yourself what you're doing. These lessons are effective because you will not only learn what's going wrong, but you will get direct help in learning what movements will allow you to undo your harmful habits. And because the lesson is video recorded, you can actually see what you're doing, and you will see what you did to succeed and what you did when you were unsuccessful. You will watch yourself change in these video recorded lessons, and you will see yourself change in your everyday life. For more information about getting lessons with me, please visit my website, mechanicsofpoise.com. Thanks for joining me again today. Questions and comments are always welcome in the comment section below.